were saying, which is more a proof of ownership mechanism and a proof of registration. And so in a more open and interoperable model, which the music industry, you know, Albie and I were there, the ability for the music industry to get together and make some decisions as an industry to make interoperability actually happen, that did not happen. In fact, we all got in a room and we just couldn't agree or couldn't work together. There were too many different opinions, and it went on and on and on, and it didn't actually happen. And then the result many, many years later is, it turns out a non-interoperable DRM is probably a bad thing. Okay? Whatever you want to say about that. The movie industry and television industry has not yet had this problem. They don't have yet a dominant player really in television. And you know, right now, flash video, which is what's happening on the internet, is conceptually interoperable because everyone can get it. You know, so the reality is it's not required. Not one website has access to that. You know, Adobe's. It's not, you have to go to Adobe.com to get flash video. So I do believe that the motion picture technology still has a chance to pull it off in the imperceptible way, in some way, and not get up completely. But they're going to have to move pretty quick.
Well, so but just one, there's an analogy that you were talking about the music business, and one of the reasons that we had difficulty in the music business is that we had legacy contracts. And when we launched our first digital distribution project when I was at Universal Music, I think we had half a dozen lawyers spend 6 months to clear 200 songs because it wasn't clear you had the rights to sell them that way. Now, of course, post-Napster, it was said, you know, why did you waste your time doing that? And who knows, perhaps in the film industry, all of our legacy windowing deals that go out for 10 and 15 years and have interlacing contracts between these services put obligations on those companies, which then have obligations on other companies. As you put all these things together, I think one of the lessons from the music industry is that the studios need to be careful not to be hamstrung by their expectation of the legal obligations to keep them from doing what they need to do to meet the consumer needs. And I know that sometimes it means letting go of a $10 million check in exchange for a $1 million check that might stop you from losing $20 million 5 years from now.
Or taking a risk. I mean, you know, our companies, we're dealing with album cover artwork right now. No one has really clear ideas of what album cover artwork licensing really is in the music industry. So the president of our company just told the attorneys, you know what, we're just doing this. So, risk? No. We got to do it. We got to do it. We got to figure out how to do it legally. You know, we're going to do it legally, or it's going to happen illegally. So somebody had to step up and take the risk. That's a big challenge for any executive of any company to do.
Well, that brings actually us to a very interesting point, because if you look at the example you made and or you put forth, and you look at the history of some of these sites, it almost seems like in the last 12 years, 10, 12 years since we've been having to deal with these issues, the folks that actually try to do the right thing end up getting screwed. And the guys that say, you know what, I'm just going to take the damn risk and we'll figure out the later, either in court or in some other mechanism, we'll sort it out. I mean, Google just sorted out its litigation with the publishers, the book publishers, over its whatever the service is called,
library digitization.
Yeah, exactly. That took 3 years, but they went ahead and did it, and of course they had the deep pockets to sort of take the risk. But it seems like the people that say, you know, I'm not going to bother getting permission, are the ones that almost have a snowball's chance of surviving.
Well, you're bringing up YouTube, and John, I'm going to look to you. I think one of the very interesting market developments was a deal that Lionsgate put together with YouTube on ad revenue sharing. You know, for so long, there's been a lot of talk in this industry about the importance of content fingerprinting, being able to identify illegal content on the internet. But the problem is, for these fingerprinting companies, is all the content owners wanted to do was basically identify the content and take it down. Now, that's important for some content in certain windows, but you know, John, maybe you could give us some insight on this deal that Lionsgate struck with YouTube, because I think it's one of the most important steps of actually where a network operator like a YouTube, UGC network, is basically working with a content owner, not just to take everything down, but to actually monetize content. Was it easy to put that deal together?
Was it easy? I'll say it was not an easy deal to put together. It took a lot of conversations internally a lot of debates between groups that thought, you know, YouTube was built on stealing our intellectual properties, and, you know, we should join the forces that are looking to shut them down, to people that said, let's find ways to embrace YouTube. They have a great appeal to consumers. Consumers are there in hundreds of millions every day, you know, experiencing video. We decided to give it a shot on the video side. How do we embrace this? How do we find ways to engage the consumers? So, and if you look at what Lionsgate does across YouTube, we find ways at the front end, when we're releasing theatrical, how to engage the consumers. We now are offering with YouTube mashup tools. So we're offering you know, different things that people can now engage in early to get involved in the pictures, so that we can work with them and bring them into the theaters and get them that rewarding experience that they won't ever get even on Pirate video. We also